Welcome to the Goalie Mindset Podcast. My name is Pete Fry, the Goalie Mindset Guy, and my purpose is to help goalies have a dominating goalie career. Pete Fry, the Goalie Mindset Guy here. This is the Goalie Mindset Podcast. Excited to have on today former goaltender and current goalie coach, Matt. I want to make sure I pronounce your last name right. Matt Dopud?
That was close. No one gets it.
Because it's French, right? It's French.
No, it's Yugoslavian.
Oh, it's Yugo. Okay, I knew that. Okay.
It's Dopud. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you pronounce it?
Dopud.
Dopud. Okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yep.
Perfect. Matt Dopud. Awesome. So, Matt, excited to have you on, my friend. Great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. First podcast, so I'm excited to get this rolling and have some fun talking about goalies.
Yes. You got it. And we were connected together from Jason Clark.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I gave him a call a couple weeks ago because his brother passed away.
Yeah, super sad.
Cancer. Yeah, so my condolences to him and his family. And Todd was a great guy, and he'll be remembered for that. And yeah, so I was talking to Clarky just to kind of send him my condolences, and we ended up getting talking. And I was talking about one of my goalies who's having a little bit of trouble with the mental side of the game, and he brought up your name, said that you guys started a business together, and next thing you know, we're on a podcast together. So it's been a journey over the last couple of weeks.
That's exciting. Well, I'm glad to have you here. I'm really glad to have you here. And so you guys know, Matt was born and raised in Montreal. My in-laws are from Montreal, so I go back there a lot, and I do some work with the Montreal Canadiens goaltenders. I've been a goalie coach for 15 plus years. So 15 plus years you've been goalie coaching for. Lots learned during that time, I'm assuming. And currently the goalie coach for the Carleton Place Canadiens, the CCHL, as well as the goalie coach in the University of Ottawa GGs. And also, we'll talk about this too, the head of goalie development at Shift Performance, located in Stittsville, Ottawa. And the thing I didn't really cover in the intro was also Matt's playing career. He had a very, very impressive playing career, and played in the QMJHL. We're going to talk about that. And it's funny. I had it on my screen on Elite Prospects, but it went to some type of ad. It kind of goes to some ad or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So it took me off. But anyways. It's all good. So Matt, let's start off with this.
Yep.
You're born in Montreal, right? Born in Montreal. And
yes, sir.
What part is that? What part? I should be familiar with it by now because I go back there every year. But what part of it that were you born in?
I'm from the West Island, from Point Claire. So that's just the west side of Montreal. I grew up in Point Claire. It's more of an English part of Montreal, and I grew up there, a very nice suburb area, and it was a great place to grow up. Learned lots and did lots and played lots of sports, so it was fun.
Nice. So my in-laws are from Greenfield Park.
Yep.
How close is that?
I'm not 100% sure, but I would probably say around 25 minutes probably.
Okay, so it's still pretty close. Pretty close. Yep. Okay. Yeah. What a great hockey city too, Montreal, to grow up playing hockey in.
Yeah, lots of great athletes come out of Montreal, that's for sure.
What got you into playing hockey in the first place?
I just loved it, I just loved watching it. I loved playing it. My dad was a big hockey guy. He played in the Q as well when he was younger. And
oh, really?
Played a little bit in the East Coast as well until they told him that they wanted him to fight. He's like, I don't feel like fighting, so he stopped. My older brother was a player as well, and actually what got me into being a goalie, my dad actually was coaching my older brother's team, who was 2 years older than me, and they didn't have a goalie. So my dad asked me, he said, hey, do you want to be the goalie? I said, no. He said, too bad, I signed you up. And, signed me up, and now I loved it ever since. And the one thing that I'll remember from my childhood was, I think my first game I played, I think I let in like 11 or 12 goals or something like that. It was brutal, and letting in everything. And my mom was crying, and she was like, she felt really bad. And then I came out of the locker room. I had a huge smile on my face. Said, "Mom, do you see those saves I made?" And my mom was like, "What? You you let in 11 goals?" But okay,
Oh,
yeah.
no, you
So
were focused on all the right stuff. And they're like, yeah, but
exactly,
you let in the 11 goal.
yeah, exactly. So I think that's when I knew I was a goalie. So
That's great. I love it. That is huge, right? Be able to focus on the saves that you made, forget
yeah,
about the ones that aren't made, right? So
exactly.
sounds like you got that your very first game you played. That's impressive.
Yeah, yeah,
That's impressive. Okay. Outstanding. So you became a goalie,
yep,
and at what age did it become serious? Did it become from more than, kind of playing for fun? And you're still playing for fun, of course. We always play for fun.
yeah.
Yet, when did it become serious where you started to play in like the higher levels of minor hockey?
Yeah, I think it started from, I wouldn't say from the start. Obviously, letting in 11 goals is not a good start, but it started off pretty early because I'm a competitive guy, especially when I'm playing hockey, and I love to win and love to play with the teammates and and perform for my teammates and stuff like that. So it started off at a young age. But if I'm going to be honest, like when I took it full stride, it was probably after I got drafted at my 16-year-old year in the Q. I got drafted to the St. John's Sea Dogs. And That's when I was like, maybe I am okay of a goalie and I can make it somewhere. And then that's when my dad kind of said, now you have to make a decision. Like, because I was, I played every single sport you could think of, right? I was swimming, I played water polo, I played soccer, like you name it, I played it, right? And that was like me. That's what I did the whole time until I was about 16. And then my dad kind of told me, like, look, if you want to keep doing this, keep doing it. But, like if you want to take hockey serious and try to make something out of it, you got to kind of make a decision, right? So that's when I kind of stopped playing all the other sports competitively. I still played them, but not as competitive. And, then I focused more on my off ice training and taking hockey a little more serious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Good for you. Good for you. And so your dad having played before you, what's your dad's first name?
His real name is Zlatko, ZLTKO, but everyone calls him Sam.
Okay. What would it be in hockey, DB? Would it be like Sam or would it be
Let me check. I think it would be check here for probably be under is that it there? No, that's not it. I'm not even sure if it'd be on here, to be honest with you.
no, yeah, it's possible with the names and stuff like that, right? There's stuff from back there. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, my uncle's a if you type in Dopud, my uncle's an actor in Vancouver, actually, near you.
Oh, who's your uncle?
Mike Dopud.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Great, great, great.
yeah, I
I
can't think of
got
it.
Samuel Dupad.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's not
Not
him.
no, no,
No.
no, born in 1994. That'd be challenging. Yes. Okay. Anyways, that's all good. So your dad played as well too. So that must have been a cool thing,
Yeah.
as you grew up, talking to your dad after games and stuff like that. Tell us about the relationship there.
Yeah, it's we have a good relationship. Like he's, very black and white, very and that's kind of something that helped me throughout my playing career and life in general too, right? He's been very positive and very understanding of everything. And he just made like made everything easy. Not I shouldn't say easy because it wasn't easy because we did have some long talks about performance and stuff like that, but he was always making sure that I held myself accountable and making sure that like I'm not blaming things that I can't control, things in that aspect. I mean, I think he did a great job with not just me but both my brothers. He was actually my coach for a couple years. He was my older brother's coach for a couple years, younger
Oh,
brother for a
nice.
couple years. So he was able to actually coach us, and he taught us a lot. So we have a really good relationship, all of us, and he's just a great mentor to look up to.
Nice. What would be the number one biggest lesson or takeaway from your dad?
Just don't be shy to make mistakes. Like you're gonna make mistakes, and that's how you learn. Like don't be shy to get out of that comfort zone and do something that you're not comfortable with. Especially being a goalie. I was very a very acrobatic goalie. You know, and some people would say I was like a Tim Thomas slash Marty Brodeur slash Dominic Hasek style goalie.
It's
So
quite the mix.
yeah, so it was I never really had goalie coaches, to be honest with you, when I grew up. So I learned by watching hockey and and just realizing that all I need to do is just stop this black piece of rubber going in behind me, and if that means getting my head on it, getting my toes on it, doing the backflip and making a save, I mean that's what I'm gonna have to do to make a save, right?
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, yeah. Because I noticed, um, you're 5'9",
Yep,
which some people will say that's small for a goaltender, right? Which I think it's bogus for people to say that, but
yep.
some do. So tell me about dealing with that. Tell me about dealing with that. Did you have any issues? Like,
Oh
sometimes when you're on a
yeah,
team and
yeah.
you're better than the other goalie, but the other goalie may be 4 inches taller than you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's how you take it, right? People would tell me that I'm small, and sure, try to score on me though. Like
Yeah, there
that
you
was my
go.
mentality. I didn't really care who was in front of me, who was behind me. All I know is that I needed to win hockey games. I needed to stop pucks. I didn't really size wasn't an issue for me. I mean, obviously, would I have enjoyed being a few inches taller? Absolutely, but I think everyone's in that same boat. For me, it's same thing. I have to play my game. I have to worry about what I can control, and that's the effort level that I put in. That's my attitude, right? So if I can
Yeah.
control those two things, then there's nothing that can really stop me. And if you want to tell me you're too small, then that's going to light a fire under my butt and get me going.
Plus, if you look at it, you think of it, 5'9" to 6 foot is about what, that much difference? Can you see my
Hmm.
fingers there?
Yep.
It's
That's
about
it.
that much difference, right?
Yep.
That's it. That's it. So it's
But how
people.
many times have you been scored on by that much?
Yeah, no, I know. I hear you.
No,
All I'm
I mean,
saying is that
yeah,
it can be adjusted through positioning and things like
that's
that, right? And
100%.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyways, no
Yeah.
way. So that's a great story. And one of my clients was speaking with who's the goalie? You say Soros.
Yeah.
You say Soros. And who how tall is you Soros?
I think he's 5'9", 5'10". I think maybe
Yeah,
5'10".
yeah. I think they try to say six
Yeah.
feet or something like that, but I think he's five
Yeah.
nine max,
Yeah.
maybe a little less, right? But it doesn't
Yep.
matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
No,
matter, right?
absolutely.
And so one of my clients asked me, goes, so how tall are you? Right? He said, how tall are you?
Yeah.
And he said, however tall I need to be to stop the puck.
Yeah. I like that.
That's the mentality to have.
That's exactly it. So you have to
Right.
have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like don't make those excuses for like don't let those excuses, get in your head. Like I have goalies because I at shift performance where I'm the head goalie coach, I go through, 50, 60 goalies a week and I hear that all the time. Oh, I'm like from parents too. Oh, he's too small. Is it no? Like you're making excuses for him. Like he's got or her. Sorry. Like they gotta learn how to. That's the way they are. They
Yeah.
got to learn how to do it. If they want hockey to be something, they got to be disciplined and they got to take action when they can. They got to execute a game plan and don't worry about the uncontrollables. Right?
No, no, totally, totally.
Yeah.
And that's what happens a lot of times, minor hockey goalies, younger goalies, they're influenced by, things their parents say. Their parents may just be trying to protect them or things like that. But if it is the wrong thing, like I've heard parents say that, just you might as well give it up now because you're not big enough.
Yeah.
I've heard
Yeah.
them say that. And those are belief killers, right?
Absolutely.
They develop negative beliefs in the goaltenders. They start to believe that as opposed to fighting to stop the puck,
Exactly.
right?
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So okay, so when did you say I'm going to go for it? I want to make a career out of goal. I'm assuming at some point you thought I want to make a career out of goaltending. Did you have a vision for that? Did you have a vision for I want to play the NHL, or what was your vision when you were, let's say, close, like, like playing in the CGHL, close to the Q,
Yeah.
maybe playing AAA. What was your vision of of yourself then?
Well, when I was younger, it was obviously the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, Montreal
Okay.
guy, you kind of have to you have to have that in your blood, right? And that's when I started off young. That was the goal, obviously, to make the Montreal Canadiens. And then once I got to a position where I was, in a situation where I could make something like that happen, it went from Montreal Canadiens to any NHL team. Like
Okay.
just I wanted to play in the NHL. I wanted to play in that level because the way that my mindset is, I want to be the best at every level I can be at. If I'm at playing midget, if I'm playing, whatever level I'm at, I want to be the best at that level, right? So I think with that mindset, I mean, getting there is obviously very, very tough. And, congratulations to all the goalies that have made it there and played pro and all that stuff. It's very, very hard to make it. But again, when I was younger, this the biggest thing. I was thinking getting an education out of hockey, making sure I can develop good relationships with friends that I have long time relationships with. Just making sure that I was just a good respectable person to everybody, right? I mean, obviously
Hmm.
NHL is the goal, but I think it's more about creating those relationships and friendships that you get through hockey. And that's how we're talking right now. I got a relationship and ended up now I'm on the podcast with you. So it's a small world, but I think the biggest thing was obviously the NHL. But I mean, sometimes injuries happen and sometimes there's things that get in the way of you getting there. And but
Yeah, so here's the question. Uh, like I myself, yeah, I wanted to play in the NHL, but I don't ever think I saw it as a reality,
yeah,
right? Like it's weird. Like when I made the West Hockey League at 16 and I thought, okay, I'm done, I've made it, right?
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like it was as opposed to this is nothing. This is just a stepping stone,
yeah, 100%.
right?
It is a
This
stepping
is
stone. Yeah,
just a stepping stone.
yeah,
So yeah, I think a lot of guys don't even have it in their mind in the right way. So if they
yeah.
get the opportunity, they might be behind, right?
Yeah,
As
and
opposed
it's
to
also too dealing with being able to play under that pressure as well too, right? Like you have to have that. In my this is my opinion, obviously. Like I think you have to have that, high pressure mindset, especially being a goalie.
yeah.
You know what it's like. You're either the hero or you're the zero. It's either
Yeah.
you're the reason why they won or you're the reason why they lost. So I mean, it's you got to be able to deal with that pressure, and I
Well,
feel like
it sounds like you had the ability to deal with it right from game one, your very first game you played.
yeah. Yeah. No, I was confident. I was very confident. Like I'm a confident guy. I think that, like I like put myself in situations where, some other people might not want to put themselves in that situation, right? I like to take that test and see how I deal with it, right? And
Yeah.
again, I feel that life is all about making mistakes and it's how you learn from those mistakes that are going to get you to that next level in life.
Yeah, totally, totally, totally. Question for goalies out there.
Yeah.
Um, I noticed when you played in, oh, that was 2006, 2007, Canada, some LAC St. Louis, some QMJHL.
Yep.
And so here's a question. I know it's in Canada, maybe the stats weren't the best, right? Just 4 games in, stuff like that. Sometimes we're on teams that are disfavorable for our stats. Talk to me about that for goaltenders. How do you think they should deal with that if they're on a team that's not very good and their stats aren't where they want them to be? Any thoughts or opinions for them?
Yeah, I think don't even look at your stats. If you know that you're going to be in a situation where like you're not on a strong team and you're kind of the backbone of the team, you can't be, in my opinion, again, you can't be looking at the stats. You got to be looking at did we win the game? Yes or no?
Yeah.
We didn't lose. We didn't win the game. Okay, so how many goals I let in? Which ones were my fault? Which ones could I've had some help with? I think the biggest word of advice would be don't look at, like, even if you're doing well, don't even look at your stats. Like you have to live today. You can't be living yesterday. You don't be living by tomorrow. You got to be living today every day. And if I have a game tonight, I got to perform. If I had a bad game yesterday and I have a game tonight, how do I reset? If I played an unbelievable game, I had a 50 save shutout, and then I play it again the next night, how do I reset? And I think that's the biggest thing is about, don't even look at your stats. I think if you just go out there and play the game that you love every single night, you will get rewarded somehow.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense, right? Because a lot of guys will be focused on the stats. They'll be looking at the shot clock during the game, like things that have nothing to do with
Yeah.
them stopping the
Yeah.
puck.
Like I have one goalie like that right now. I'm not going to mention any names, but very, yeah,
Let's call
very,
them
very,
out. No, I'm
yeah,
joking.
let's not do that. But yeah, it's one of those, he's always worried about the stats. And I always tell him, I said, like you're a really good goalie and you can be very good if you just focus on stopping the puck. So don't sometimes it's like, oh, the score clock said 34 and it's, I only got 29. Well, why are you looking at the score clock? Like worry about stopping the next puck, worry about controlling your rebound, worry about winning the hockey game. And then after the game, if you want to go look at your stats, sure. But you can't be looking at that during the game. It's just a distraction for no reason.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. What was a key for you to go from minor hockey to playing in the queue?
So I got drafted. I was actually, before I got drafted, I was approached by RPI, the NCAA team
Yeah.
D1, and I was talking to them for a little bit, and I didn't, like I'm not a big school guy, to be honest with you. I'm not a big, I never actually thought about going NCAA until they reached out to me, and then I started talking to them a little bit. And then within, I think, a week later, I got drafted higher than expected. I got drafted in the fifth round, and I was projected to go a lot later. I think it was like 10th round or something like that. So I got lucky to be able to get drafted a little bit earlier. And once I had the conversation with the organization, the St. John Sea Dogs, it seemed very, very positive, and it seemed like they really liked me and really wanted me to be there. So I took that a little bit more serious than the school route. But my mind was always, I just want to play where I'm playing. I just want to be good. I want to stop pucks. I want to have some fun. It's the best game in the world. So I want to do it at the highest level I could. And, once I got drafted, that's when I kind of said, okay, let's do this. Let's go for it.
Yeah. And I'm just looking your first year there, 24 games.
That was a rough year.
Oh, it was two
Yeah.
2.89 GAA. You had a good GAA.
Yeah.
And but a challenging year. How come? Why a challenging year?
Are we talking about the Sea Dogs?
I think it's Rue Noranda.
Oh, right. Miranda. Yeah, no, that was a
I
great.
always pronounce that wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Miranda. Yeah, that was good. It was a year before when I was with the St. John Sea Dogs. It wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very. We were like the Sea Dogs went so the year that I got drafted was their second year in the league,
Okay.
and I think it was something 15 or something wins and 68. So it was a very young and unexperienced team, and we weren't very very good. So that was a struggle for everybody. But Ryan Aranda was awesome. I mean, Andre Tourney was my coach in Ryan Aranda, and he helped me out so much when I was there. I mean, it was a very defensive style game, or sorry, team, and he taught me a lot of things about how to be a pro, how to be a good goalie or a good athlete, and how to respect everybody. And the one thing I really enjoyed about Andre was he was very, very honest with how he spoke to you, and then he'd give you time off, and that, like, not time off, sorry, but he'd let you kind of evaluate what he said, and then he'd have another talk with you in the morning. Like one example, I tried scoring in a game when I think it was 3-2, I think it was, and the puck kind of, I love playing the puck, by the way.
Good
So
for
when the
you.
puck
So do I.
it hit off, yeah, it hit off like the ref's foot or something. I came right into my wheelhouse, and I was like, I have to do this. So I shot it in the air. I could have swore it was going to the net, and then landed the curve on it. Just took it right, just a little bit wide. And then after that happened, it was icing. It came back. They won the draw, and then I had to make a really good save, and we ended up winning the game. And then after we won the game, the boys were blaring the music after the game. He came in, he shut it off, and kind of called me out in front of the whole team. He's like, "This is very selfish, blah, blah, all this stuff." And like I was shocked because we just won a hockey game, but then the best thing about everything that just happened is the next morning he called me into his office, and it was just me and him, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "Are we good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." He's like, "Hey, you understand why I did that?" I said, "Yeah, I understand." He goes, "Okay." He goes, "As long as we're on the same page." He goes, "I'm over it." He goes, "Just think about it a little bit more before you do it." I said, "Absolutely, I agree 100%." So you always knew where you stood with them, and that's something that I think a lot of coaches, not a lot of coaches, but I think coaches could do a little bit better job of kind of communicating with their players, especially goalies. Especially if they're not a
Mhm.
goalie minded coach, it's hard to deal with goalies. And like Clarkey, for example, like he told me, he calls me Dopes. He goes, "Dopes, I'm never talking to the goalies." He goes, "That's your job." He goes, "I do not talk to goalies." I'm like, "Yeah, sounds good."
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So
What a great experience. Well, I'm glad you took the shot.
yeah,
I'm glad that you
absolutely.
took that shot, right? And you think about it, almost if you go back to what your dad said, right? Don't be
Yeah,
afraid to make mistakes.
yeah,
Um, although I know the coach called it out or whatever, it's I think you did the right thing.
yeah, absolutely. You live and you learn from it, right? So.
Yeah. Plus you came back and made a save.
Yeah,
Still
and
would have.
now his son actually is one of my goalies on my Ottawa U team.
Oh, nice.
So he's one of the goalies on so it's a full circle.
Yep, exactly. Don't let him play the puck.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
You freeze it every single time, okay?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, and what would you say? What was your biggest success for your time in the queue? What was your number one biggest success? One thing you're most proud of?
Probably being part of the Memorial Cup team with Rimouski Oceanic.
Okay.
I got traded from Roy Noranda at Christmas to Roy Noranda, to Rimouski, who were hosting the Mem Cup that year. So I got the call and I was like, I'm going and I'm playing the Mem Cup. Like that's pretty impressive. And so that's definitely something that was pretty cool in my career because it was once in a lifetime experience, and the city was great. The fans were great. The way that they did everything and how it was run, and it's back there this year too. So they're going to have a great time dealing with that because the fans are absolutely wild over there, and they're going to have a fun time with hosting the Mem Cup again. But I'd say probably, yeah, I'd say making it to major junior and getting through those obstacles, and then I'd also say probably playing in the Mem Cup. That was a pretty cool experience.
Okay. Yeah, that's huge. Not a lot of people playing the Memorial Cup.
Yeah,
Right.
it's tough.
That's good for you. Good
Yeah.
for you. And then what made you decide to go U Sports after the Q?
My body was pretty beat up, to be honest with you.
Really?
I had some bad hip injury my last year
Mm.
of junior when I was 20. It was actually in the second round of the playoffs. We were playing against Drummondville, and they had a powerhouse team that year. And I think it was game 3 or 4, and I went to just go make a routine butterfly save, and I heard a pop in my hip and couldn't really move my leg for the remainder of that shift, and then I had to get helped off, and so that kind of, after I saw the doctors, I had to take 2 3 months off of everything, so that kind of held me back a little bit from trying to go to the pro route. So then one of the teams, Carleton University, they were kind of trying to get me to go there when I was back playing in Canada when I was 17. So they reached out to me after my season, and it just felt like it was less hockey games, less strain on the body. They knew that I was
Yeah.
injured coming in, so I think that was a better fit for me at the time. And I was also able to get an education out of it, get a degree from it. So it was that's probably the big reason why I went to U Sports. And then once I was in U Sports, it was a fun time. Probably the best 4 years of my life.
Nice.
Yeah,
You get a lot more time to rehab in between games, right? You just play
yeah,
on the weekends.
exactly. Yeah,
So
and
you're
if you buy
practicing
a little
for,
sword,
yeah.
buy a little sword, take Monday off, and sometimes you can milk it into Tuesday depending on the kind of coach you have, right?
Yeah, totally. Totally. No, and it's good hockey too. What did you think of the hockey when you got there?
It's great. That's so underrated. It's like even today, like I'm the goalie coach with the Ottawa U men's team, and
Yep.
just watching that hockey, it's all ex major junior players. Instead of playing 70 games a year, you're playing 28. So you get to see some high caliber hockey, and it's intense. It's competitive. It's probably the most underrated league, I'd say, in my opinion, from all the leagues that I watch. I'd say it's the most underrated. It needs to get more views, but the whole thing with this new rules with the CHL, sorry, and the NCAA, I think it might affect that. Hopefully not that much, but I think it will a little bit with the amount of high caliber athletes you can get.
Yeah, it's
But
gonna
it's
be
still,
interesting.
yeah, it will be. It'll be fun.
So I remember I did similar to yourself. After my 20th year in the Western Hockey League, I went to University of Calgary,
Yep.
and I did not have. That's why I do what I do now, because I did not have a good attitude. I was messed up. I was like, "This is brutal hockey. What am I doing here?" and stuff like that, right? And
Yeah.
then before Christmas, we played the World Junior team
Yeah.
because they'll do their little tour, right? Play some of
Yeah.
the university teams,
Yep.
and which is best of the Western, the Q, the O, and we kicked their butt like 7-2.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, maybe this is good hockey,
Yeah. It's really good.
right? It's
Because
just
even when I played, and now that I'm coaching, like we go and play NCAA teams all the time. Like when I played, we played against Clarkson, we played against Cornell, St. Lawrence, and then now Ottawa U is playing against a bunch of teams as well, and like it's very competitive. Like when we went, it was the beginning of our training camp where they've already been there for a month, and we would be 1 goal games, tie games, like it'd be close, but then when we go there at Christmas time and we've actually had a few games in our belt, we usually take those wins. So it's if you look at how good the NCAA is, I think CIS is like that's the one thing that I would love to see is do the winner of Canadian University versus the winner of the NCAA and see how
yeah,
that goes. That would be pretty cool.
that'd be great. I could see a friend of mine ran the football program at Simon Fraser when they were actually NCAA.
Yeah.
It's in Canada, right, for football.
Yep.
But can you see any Canadian universities going to NCAA?
So that's a conversation that I've had with a couple of coaches. I mean, I don't know the rules. I don't know if you're able to. I think there's something that you have to have a certain amount of students at your school to be considered D1. I think I'm not sure what the number is, but um, I think that you can make a very competitive Canadian league. Like you have big schools like Ottawa U, obviously. You have big schools like McGill. You have teams like UNB that do well every year. You have teams in that start, but I mean, you could definitely make a good Canadian league that would definitely be competitive for sure. And
Yeah.
I think if you only have, let's say, 4 or 5 Canadian teams, or let's just say per division, let's just say the East Coast, because that's where I'm from. If you do like 4 or 5 team division there, and I think you can compete in those Eastern Conference battles with the NCAA. I just don't know if it's again, it's all very young, right? So there's a lot of unknowns right now. So I think definitely, I hope that would be pretty cool because I mean, having a Canadian style NCAA would be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it would be. And there's no reason why, like you think, would just happen with the top prospect team, right? Canada
Yeah.
kind of versus or the CHL versus like the US. So they could definitely do stuff like that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Community tournaments, right? Because
Yeah.
it's what what is the biggest challenge that you see mentally, career wise? I'm talking hockey career wise for the players that go to youth sports. I'm not talking NCAA. I'm talking for the
Yeah.
players that go to youth sports. What is what is the challenge hockey career wise?
Well, you got to understand that you're like, again, depending on, usually if you're playing Canadian hockey growing up, like minor hockey, and So you're playing a lot of games, right? So if you play major junior, you're playing junior A, you're playing, 50 to 60 to 70 games a year, right? Plus playoffs, plus all that extra stuff. So mentally, it's just about understanding that, you're only playing 28 games this year. And Christmas, you're off from December, whatever, let's just say 15th to January 5th, like 5th, so you almost have a full month off of hockey after, for during Christmas. And, so then you only have 12 games left after Christmas, where usually you'd have probably 40 games left after Christmas, right? So it's about understanding the lifestyle and, obviously you're a student as well. So managing your time with how you're going to be able to do your studies and how you're going to be able to also train to be a high performance athlete. All those little things all combined together. And it's just, I think the biggest thing is just understanding that you're going from a lot of games to not a lot of games, and understanding
Mhm.
how important those games are. Because if you're playing 70 games a year and you lose one or two, or you go on a 3-4 game losing streak, it's okay, you can come back from it. But if you go on a 3-4 game losing streak in 28 games, that's the difference between probably making the playoffs and not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing is to understand how much more important every game is, and how you take care of your body and perform the best you can.
Got it. Love it. Love it. Favorite goalie growing up?
I have to say Patty Wall.
Patrick
My mom,
Waugh. Yeah,
my mom's was
you
mom's
you
was
you
Dominic
tracked
Hasek.
him, you followed him when he played.
Yeah, he was probably the reason why I became a goalie. And the coolest thing that I've ever experienced, one of the coolest things, was he actually coached for Quebec, the Ramparts, when I played in the
Yeah.
queue. So every time I played against him, it was nice to see the guy that I looked up to growing up. He was coaching against me, so I was trying to beat him every time so that he can I could tell him I beat him in something, right? But
Exactly. Exactly. I love it.
my
Yeah, he's
mom says
competitive.
Dominic Hasek though, so
Sorry?
my mom says Dominic Hasek. So
Oh, Dominic Hasek. Yeah, there's another competitor. Hey,
yeah, yeah. So
he's fantastic goaltender.
what about yourself? Who was your goalie you looked up to when you
Oh
started off?
God. Good question. Good question. I would say initially it was Ken Dryden,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Initially it was Ken Dryden. And
Yes.
then as time went on, yeah, just like like of course Patrick Waugh when he started playing.
I have a little bit of Ronnie Hextall on me too. So
Oh, you
oh yeah, got a few penalties, got a few pims, couple fights under my belt. So
really?
yeah.
I played against him when he was in Brandon.
Oh really? Yeah,
Yeah, in fact, the I was only a 16-year-old in the Western Hockey League.
yeah,
And if you could imagine this, it's a second period. It was playing at home in Portland. The Brandon and Portland benches are right beside each other. And I'm just, I'm sitting at the end of the bench, and we get a penalty. It's the second period. So Ron Hextall has to skate to his bench, right,
yeah,
for the extra attacker. But he has to skate by ours to get there.
yeah.
So when he's skating by ours, he holds his stick on the knob. He does this tomahawk thing around his head. And I swear it missed my nose by about an inch, right? I was
Like
16. Like,
right next to the bench.
yeah, right on the bench. I'm sitting on the bench. Yeah. And so I look up at the trainer and I'm like all freaking scared,
Yeah,
right? I'm like 16, 150 pounds. Like, what the hell just happened? And the
yeah.
trainer is just laughing. Like he's just hysterically laughing. He goes, man, goes, last year Bruno broke his nose, like the other goalie that was on our team, right? He goes, you gotta
You got to be
freaking
prepared.
protect yourself.
Yeah, that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
He did a
Mm-hmm.
lot of crazy things.
Oh yeah. But he was good. Like he would fire the
Oh
puck and he would hit the glass down the far end. And
yeah,
so
yeah,
after we played them, the next day their GM or a coach put us on the goal line. He said, grab a puck, shoot it as high and hard as you can.
yeah,
I couldn't even raise it.
yeah,
Couldn't even raise it. Right from after later on, I went to work to practice getting better at
yeah,
shooting and stuff like that. But
yeah,
yeah, Hextall sure brought that skill into the game.
yeah. 100%. Yeah, he's very good at the stick.
Yeah. Yep. He was. He was.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of your goalie coaching, and some of the goalies that you've coached along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been doing this for over 15 years, like you mentioned. A lot of goal. Like again, I work with 30 plus, 50 plus goalies a week at shift. Plus, I do my Ottawa U guys and the Carleton Place guys. Some noticeable names. Obviously, got to put Andre Vasilevsky at the top. I was able to work with him a couple times. So shift performance used to be called CGD, which is complete goaltending development, and that was run by Charles McTavish. I don't know if that name rings a bell at all,
Yep.
but he
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
yeah. So he was the one that kind of started the facility, and he was training him for I think 5 or 6 years before I came, and
Okay.
he trained him about for I think it was like an 8-week program that they did at the facility, and then one week he had to go away for I think it was a wedding or something like that. So he's like, "Hey, you want to train?" I'm like, "Absolutely!" Like like it's not every day you can say you're on the ice with one of the best goalies to ever play the game, right? So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, he's definitely at the top of the list of goalies that I've worked with. I've worked with Jeremy Forget. He went to Princeton. I've worked with Connor Murphy. He went to Union now with the Calgary Flames AHL team. Devin Levi with the Buffalo Sabres.
There's a good one. Hey, talk to us about Devin Levi.
Oh, he's great. He's a goalie, that's for sure. He has his things that he does that makes him who he is, right? Like I'll never forget one of the times that they played a game. I think they played 3 games in 4 or 5 nights, and he played all of them. And the way it works in Carleton Place is that their goalies come and see me every Saturday morning because they don't usually play on Saturdays, right? So the goalies usually come see me on Saturday, and we do our session, we do our video, and all that stuff that we need to get done. And he had 3 or 4 games prior to that, and I think he let in 1 or 2 goals in 3 games. So I was there, and I was like, hey, like we can make it like a simple. You've had a lot of games, so instead of working on crazy stuff, let's just get our tracking, rebound control, and do a little edge work and get the body going. And he came, he had a list of 10 things. No, this is not good enough. I need to work on this. I need to work on this. I need to work. I'm like, buddy, you let in 1 goal in 3 games. What are you talking about? He said, no, it's not good enough. And like, and that's why he's in the NHL. And that's why these
Totally.
guys are freaks like that. Like there's always something that needs to be worked on. There's always something that they need to be doing. Great person. Like he's from Montreal as well. He's from Dollard, right around the corner from where I grew up. So I actually trained him back when I was in Montreal when he was probably like just starting going. And I didn't remember this until he told me about it when he came to Carleton Place. So it's pretty funny how that kind of took a full circle there. But I mean, he's just a great human, great family, really dedicated to his craft, and he works his what's off, right? So
Yeah, it sounds dedicated, right? It sounds like he's got that belief system that he demands more from himself than anyone else can ever
yeah,
expect of him. He,
absolutely. Yeah. When you have that, you're dangerous.
yeah, he's just gonna keep getting better.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
just
But I
gonna
feel bad
keep.
for him. I feel like he should have been probably in the AHL last year.
Hmm.
And that's something. I mean, like add on here if you want. Like this is what I think. Like going from NCAA playing the 40 games, only on weekends to going playing pro in the NHL, AHL. You're traveling every weekend. You're playing on Monday nights. You're playing on Tuesday nights. Like you're grinding. And I think like for development purposes, like he was doing so well. Then I think if they would have let him develop last season in the AHL, I think that would have been a lot better for him this upcoming season. But now he's back in the AHL. But he's going to figure it out. He's a great goalie. But I think it's just hard to go from the lifestyle of the NCAA lifestyle where you're only playing on weekends and you're not traveling nearly as much. And then you go to the AHL, East Coast, NHL, and you're traveling, miles and miles and miles away for one game, and you come back.
Yep.
So it's hard to
Yep.
get into that mindset and hard to take care of your body. And it's a process, right? It's not a sprint.
Nope. Getting in from a road trip at 3 or 4 in the morning,
Yeah,
having to
no
play
fun.
the next day. It's different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Different, right? You got to learn to be a pro and push
Yeah,
through.
exactly.
So, what's the one thing you learned from Vasilevsky when you work with him?
That he's very, very dedicated.
Okay.
Like he takes care, like he does so much for his body. The way his program works, and this is from him. This is not even us doing this. This is the way that he would do it. Just a typical day in Andre Vasilevsky when he worked out at shift or CGD at the time. Sorry, he would show up at the rink at probably 8:30 in the morning. He'd do probably a good hour and a half workout. He would stretch for an hour, then he'd go on the ice for 2 hours. Then he'd get off the ice, take a half-hour break, and eat food or whatever he had to do. Stretch for another hour. Then he'd do another 2-hour workout. He'd get home at probably 6 o'clock. Then he said at home he would stretch again, and then he would just go rinse and repeat. Monday to Saturday, he would take Sundays off. You know,
Really?
and the one time that I trained him, it was actually on Canada Day weekend, and some of my buddies were throwing a little party. So I looked at, hey, if you're not doing anything, you're a Russian guy, you're in Ottawa for Canada Day, like there's no better day to have some fun. So I told him, I said, if you want to come out, have a couple of drinks or just relax, whatever. He's like, no, he goes, my body's a temple. He goes, nothing goes in here that's not supposed to be in there. I'm like,
Love it.
that's
So
why
he
you're
doesn't
making
drink.
noise.
He doesn't drink.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I'm
That's
sure he
huge.
probably did after he won a couple Stanley Cups. I mean, but no, yeah, he didn't. No drinking. He said, he's
Good.
like, I don't put anything in my body that's not supposed to be there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Okay.
just a pure dedication. Like he takes pride in what he does. Like he comes out with a plan. He like and Charles McTavish did a great job with him too, because I think they did like an 8-week program. I think the first 2 weeks, I don't think he saw one puck. All edge work, all like balance, edge work, and things like that. Just getting really down to the technical part of it, and then he would introduce shots. Like obviously, like at the end of the session, they would do some hands, like just going butterfly hands. But I mean, I'd say probably a good solid week and a half to 2 weeks of just skating, and then from there, then they dove into what he needs to get better at the last 4 to 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he took pride in it, and never complained. He was always there with a smile on. And great with the kids too. Like when kids would come around, he'd sign jerseys, take pictures. He's just a great person, great athlete.
Nice. Nice. Well, that's good. And everyone listening, if there's one thing, you want to duplicate one thing that Andre Vasilevsky does that makes him so great is simply stay away from alcohol.
Yep.
Right. I know there's some younger kids listening, but there's guys listening that are playing junior and stuff. And,
Yep.
and it is alcohol is pretty bad. It's pretty rampant, even all through junior hockey. Forget
Yep.
the pros. Of course it is in the pros, but even
Yep.
in junior hockey, it is, right. And I think it really negatively affects a lot of athletes.
Yep. 100%.
Right. Um, okay. So now tell us about, you're the head of goalie development for Shift Performance. Tell us
Yeah.
about Shift Performance and all that good stuff there.
Yeah. So Shift Performance is it's in Stittsville in Ottawa. And it's a state of the art facility. Like there's a really nice gym. We just did a lot of renovations to it over the last 3-4 years. Beautiful gym. We just actually put in 2 golf simulators too, which is pretty nice. If you ever want to work on your
Nice.
game, you just go there. Especially now, this time of the year, it's a great time to get in there and get your swings in, get your touches in. We just put in actually a cold tub and a sauna as well.
Good.
Then we have a little rink that's I forget the size of it, but it's pretty small. But we have 12 creases on it. If you look at the website, it's shiftperformanceandwellness.ca, and you can see all the pictures and all that. But it's a smaller rink. 12. It was meant for just goalies, and then over the past, I think, 3 to 4 years, we've been getting into the player development side of it as well. So that's been booming pretty good. But yeah, so I do all the goalie stuff for the development stuff for all the goalies, and make sure all the goalies get what they need. Making sure that the camps are up, making sure that we're getting our PD days. Like today, for example, we have a camp running, and just making sure that we're getting the best out of our goalies. And like what we do and this is something that like I learned from Charles McTavish as well, is we're here for development. We're not here for anything else other than development. So, and one thing that Charlie always told me is, man, he says, if you do one drill the whole entire session, he goes, but they figure it out. He goes, you're getting them better. He goes, no one's going to complain. So he's like, so if a parent complains, like, I have your back, because it's not about you going out there to get 150 shots in 30 minutes. You're going out there to get better, and you're there to develop, right? So we take pride in our development. The coaching staff that we have there as well is very good. We have a lot of good goalie coaches that come out there. A lot of good player coaches that are there as well. Then we have Mike Ho, who's our off ice trainer, and he's been doing a lot of good stuff with the off ice, and how to develop the goalies and the players, and how to do proper pre games and post games routines and stuff like that, and just working with that. So the whole staff there is great, and it's a great little facility out in Stittsville. It's very nice to be working there.
Yeah, yeah, no, it sounds like a great place. So you guys got to check that out. Shift Performance, located in Stittsville, Ottawa. You got to go say hi to Matt in there.
Yes,
For
sir.
sure. For sure. Maybe you'll see Vasilevsky. Depends on what time of the year you go,
Oh,
though.
he doesn't come anymore. He still
Okay.
owes us a Zamboni, by the way. So
He's still what?
he still owes us a Zamboni. Told us
Oh,
when
he's
he signed his first big contract, he'd buy us a Zamboni. But
he did do that.
well, no, it's so he was training. He was training with us for like the last time he was there. I think it was about probably 6 years ago. I'd say.
Yeah.
I think it was right after he signed his second long term contract, and like he's like, well, I have Kucherov that shoots on me during the summer. So he's like, I'm like, yeah, so it's better than me shooting on you. So just a little
Uh,
bit, not a lot, just a little bit.
yep. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Matt, is there anything else that you want to talk about or go over, or you want the goaltenders or goalie parents or goalie coaches to know?
Yeah, just I mean, parents and coaches and goalies. Sorry, it's just like you got to be patient. Biggest thing is the goalies have to understand they can only do what they can control. They not to worry about the uncontrollables. Make sure you're patient and trust the process, and enjoy the ride. I mean, it's a fun ride. It could be you have a lot of ups, you have a lot of downs, but the biggest thing is just be patient, be true to yourself, and like make sure you're disciplined. If you want to make it to that level, then all these guys that we spoke about already, they take these next steps. And unfortunately, when I played, I didn't take those steps, right? I based it on my skill, and I didn't take the off ice as serious as I should have, and that's my fault. There's nobody else that's at fault for that. But I mean, like I always tell the goalies, do as I say, not as I do, because I'd rather you guys take that little extra step, do an extra stretch. Like I'm really big on getting my goalies to stretch all the time. Like, have you stretched today? No, take 15 minutes. Start off with 15, then go to 30, then go to an hour, and then play around with it. And the biggest thing is just be patient and let them have fun. That's the biggest thing.
Great stuff, Matt. It's been so great having you on here. Matt Dopud, the goalie coach for Carleton Place Canadiens, Ottawa GGs, and the head of goalie development at Shift Performance in Stittsville, Ottawa. Matt, it's been great having you on. Lots of great insight, lots of great advice for the goaltenders. I'll have to have you on again in the near future.